Hello, America. I'm Erick Erickson. These are the 4 things you need to know today, September 18th, 2025. It's a Thursday. Pretty much all business news that's been left on the cutting room floor with the Jimmy Kimmel firing, the president's trip to Europe, and the like. But up first, the FTC is suing Ticketmaster and Live Nation. These companies have continued to allow, or at least not block, bots from being able to buy up tickets to concerts. Now, I have to tell you, I'm a father with a Taylor Swift fan, although less so these days as my kid has gotten older. But I can tell you the pain in the butt it is to try to go to Ticketmaster, Live Nation, and try to buy tickets for popular concerts. You're left in portals for hours on end. The situation can be overwhelming, destabilizing on the internet, and then you get in and the bots have bought the tickets. There have got to be ways to limit this and the resale of tickets and things like that. They've done a disservice to musicians who want to have a connection to fan, and they've done a disservice to the fans. This is actually good government oversight of business. The Federal Trade Commission actually does have oversight to improve this for consumers. And it seems notable that the left, the right, the Democratic states and Republican states are all engaged in this lawsuit, with about 11 separate states across the political spectrum being engaged. It's the right thing to do. Up next, the president is asking the Supreme Court to let him remove Lisa Cook. This situation continues to progress up. Lisa Cook was involved in the Federal Reserve meeting of the Open Markets Committee to cut interest rates yesterday. The president wants her gone. There is some discrepancy in the paperwork. The initial loan estimates showed she was not applying for a vacation house in Atlanta, but the actual loan documentation submitted to the bank showed it as a vacation house. A number of experts have pointed out that if the valuation and the loan interest rates were the same in the estimate as they are in the paperwork, the odds are more clerical error that she didn't benefit. However, there is a major adjustment to that information. Once she filed the actual paperwork, there could be an issue. Now, one of the issues is a legal issue. The president can remove Lisa Cook for cause. Does the for cause language apply to her tenure on the Federal Reserve, or does it apply for cause for matters unrelated to the Federal Reserve? I realize it's a legal nuance, but it actually is one that has to be considered by the courts. My personal view is if she actually committed mortgage fraud, which has not been proven in a court of law, but if she has committed mortgage fraud, it doesn't matter whether it's for cause on the Federal Reserve or not. As a matter of ethics and good government policy, she should not be there. But we're a long way to go, and there's no guarantee the Supreme Court will honor what Donald Trump wants to do. Speaking of the Federal Reserve, it doesn't have a lot of good options right now. So it's signaling that it could cut interest rates again, maybe 2 more quarter-point cuts this year, and then maybe a couple next year. But the problem is the Federal Reserve has conflicting mandates. It must both maximize employment and minimize inflation. To minimize inflation, oftentimes the Federal Reserve has to raise interest rates. That then slows down the economy, which causes a problem with unemployment. If the Federal Reserve then lowers interest rates, it can stimulate the economy, which can spark employment and hiring, but then also cause inflation. So how does the Federal Reserve balance those? It has to weigh which is more important. Right now, it's very notable. Despite a lot of the claims from the Trump administration and Republicans about how good the economy is, the Federal Reserve, even seeing inflation higher than what it likes at 2%, inflation's higher than that, it felt the need to cut rates a quarter point. Some will say it was political pressure, but actually there's a lot of underlying data showing weakness in the economy. And as I mentioned on my radio show yesterday, lower income Americans are starting to feel prices at the grocery store go up on a number of goods, and a lot of that has to do with tariffs. Tariffs are not technically inflationary, although they do cause price increases, but it's a one-time thing. It doesn't continue. The Federal Reserve right now is trying to balance. Is inflation still high? Is it impacted by tariffs? What does the tariff effect have? What's the economic slowdown? They're seeing economic slowdown, and they're being cautious with their rate cut, but also signaling there's underlying weaknesses that Republicans can't get around. Meanwhile, Republicans are in this weird world where they're saying the economy is so robust, the Federal Reserve should cut rates. You cut rates when the economy is not robust. But God forbid we pay attention to what actually goes on in the economy. The Federal Reserve is kind of boxed in right now with no good options. Lastly, NVIDIA is investing $5 billion in Intel. Intel used to be the leading chip maker in the country for CPUs. Intel is not a leading company right now for CPUs. It's been overshadowed by AMD and even Apple Computer with its ARM processors. But NVIDIA remains the leading world's builder of GPUs, graphics processing units, which are necessary for AI computations. Intel has fallen behind, failed to innovate, and miscalculated, deciding that people would want more powerful chips as opposed to more battery-efficient chips. NVIDIA is stepping in to help Intel on the CPU front, not the GPU front. This kind of gets to where the president has wanted with Intel. NVIDIA stepping in, earning some good grace from the Trump administration to help revitalize what used to be America's premier microchip manufacturer. We'll see what they can come up with. This will be a global deal, but centered in the United States with technical development inside the United States. These are the 4 things you need to know this afternoon. I'm Erick Erickson. Stay informed, stay engaged, and please keep the faith.